including the frightening video of a deadly plane crash in South Korea yesterday.
On December 29, 2024, a Boeing 737 hit a concrete wall in South Korea and burst into flames.
Boeing 737 jet sliding down the runway without its front landing gear before hitting a wall and bursting into flames, killing nearly everyone on board.
179 people on board died. 2 survived. Both were sitting in the very last row.
A deadly plane crash this morning in Azerbaijan.
4 days earlier, a different plane crashed in Kazakhstan. 38 people died. 29 walked away, and almost every single survivor was seated in the back.
Officials in Kazakhstan say 38 people have been killed in the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash near the city of Aktau.
2 crashes, 4 days apart. Same brutal pattern, because the seat you pick on a plane isn't just about legroom. It comes with a survival rate attached to it, one the airline will never print on the seat map. This is the truth about the deadliest seat on every airline. Here's where it comes from. In 2015, Time pulled 35 years of crash data from the FAA's accident database. Real seating charts from fatal crashes, mapped seat by seat, survivor by survivor, and the pattern was clear. The front third of the plane, a 38% fatality rate. The middle, over the wing, 39%. The rear third, 32%. Now break it down to the exact seat. The safest seats in the entire study. Middle seats, back third of the plane, 28% fatality. The single worst, aisle seats in the middle of the cabin, 44%. Read that again. The worst seat in the data isn't first class, it's the aisle seat. Somewhere around rows 20 to 30 on a normal narrow-body jet. 16 points worse than the safest seat on the same plane. Flip it to survival rates, and it's even starker. Passengers behind the wing survived at 69%. Over the wing, 61. Up front near the cockpit, 49. The back of the plane survives at a rate roughly 20 points higher than the front. The physics are simple. In the most common crash, the nose hits first. The front of the plane absorbs the initial energy. Deceleration is most violent at the point of impact, and it weakens toward the tail. So the people farthest from that first hit take the least force. And they get something else. Time. Fractions of a second before structural collapse reaches their section. In a crash, fractions of a second are lives. Go back to Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan Airlines Flight 8243. The plane broke into 2 pieces on impact. The forward 12 rows were destroyed. The rear stayed intact enough to escape. Every single one of the 29 survivors was sitting behind the brake. The back of the plane isn't lucky, it's physics. But here's what most safest seat videos won't tell you. Those numbers are averages across many different crashes, and the type of emergency completely changes the answer. A nose-first impact, the back wins. But a plane that's intact on the ground and on fire, now it's a race to the exit, and a totally different factor takes over. Ed Gallia at the University of Greenwich studied 105 crashes and interviewed over 2,000 survivors. His clearest finding, your distance to the nearest exit. Passengers within 5 rows of an exit survived at dramatically higher rates. 6 rows or more, and the odds started sliding against you. Every row between you and that door is another obstacle in the smoke, in the dark, with the clock running. And that clock is the 90-second rule. Every airliner has to prove it can be fully evacuated in 90 seconds. Half the exits blocked, cabin dark. In a real fire, you might have even less. Because in a survivable crash, the impact often isn't what kills, the smoke is. This is why the aisle seat has an edge in an evacuation. You're up and moving, not climbing over 2 frozen strangers. Which is wild, because the aisle seat is the worst seat for impact and one of the best for escape. The emergency decides which number matters. So let's be straight. The FAA refuses to name any seat as universally safest, and technically, they're right. Crashes vary too much. In some, survival was basically random, fatalities scattered with no pattern at all. And here's the reassuring truth underneath all of this. Most crashes are survivable. The NTSB found that 95.7% of aircraft accidents have survivors. Most aren't fireballs, they're runway overruns, gear failures, hard landings where nearly everyone walks off. But most isn't all. The Jeju air crash was in that other category. A concrete barrier destroyed a 737 from the front. Out of 181 people, 2 survived. The 2 flight attendants in the rear jump seats. The pattern held even in a near unsurvivable crash. Rear placement still gave the only edge there was. Put it all together, and the research points to one combination that checks the most boxes across every study. Rear third of the plane, middle seat, within 5 rows of an exit. It's not glamorous, it boards last, it's farthest from the terminal, it's next to the bathrooms. But it's what 35 years of FAA data, thousands of survivor interviews, and 2 crashes 4 days apart all point to. Then, 3 things the moment you sit down. 1. Count the rows to your nearest exit, both directions. In smoke, you won't see the door. You'll find it by count. Survivors who located their exit during boarding moved measurably faster when it mattered. 2. Keep your shoes on and your belt tight for takeoff and landing, the 2 most dangerous phases of the flight. 3. If the worst happens, brace. Chin down, hands over the back of your head, feet flat and back. It's proven to cut injury on impact. Then the instant you stop, move, stay low, leave the bag, get to your exit. Flying is still the safest way humans have ever traveled, but safe and prepared aren't the same thing. The survivors of the survivable crashes are almost never the strongest or the luckiest. They're the ones who already had a plan. Now you have one. But picking the right seat is only half of it, because 2 people can sit in the exact same row, and only one walks away. Why? That's not luck either. Next video, we break down exactly what survivors do that everyone else doesn't. Watch that one now.